They accused me of stealing the family necklace, and of course, everyone immediately believed my perfect sister. Lisa is their golden girl, and I'm just the extra in family photos. But she has no idea that her well-hidden dirty secrets are about to come to light. Well, the show is just beginning, and I promise, it will be unforgettable. My name is Alex, I'm 24 years old, and to be honest, my life is a complete mess. Imagine this, you're just a regular guy trying to live a normal life without standing out too much. And then there's Lisa, my older sister, who it seems could just say, "Hi," and people around her would start clapping. She's got everything. A great career, loads of friends, and our parents practically glow with pride whenever she walks into a room. In our family's little play, I've always been the background extra. Lisa is the star of the show, and I'm the guy standing in the corner, hidden in the shadows. My job? Nothing special. I work in an office, doing my tasks. But try explaining that to my parents. To them, I'm just the background, nothing more. Lisa's doing so well. Lisa achieved this. Lisa went there. Lisa did that. I watch them, and it's clear how proud they are of her. And me? I just want them to notice me for once, to see my small achievements. But no, once again, all the glory goes to Lisa. Things got especially tense during one of our family dinners. We were sitting at the table, and Lisa, as usual, was talking about her successes and trips. My parents were watching her with those same shining smiles, as if she were the center of their universe. I was sitting across from her, just trying not to lose my cool. When is this going to end? I thought as everyone kept admiring Lisa. All I wanted was to be appreciated for once. But no, I was stuck in the shadows again. Then something strange happened. Out of nowhere, Lisa casually announced, "By the way, my necklace is missing." Yes, the very same family heirloom that she got for her 18th birthday. She looked at me with cold certainty and said, "I know who did it." What? Are you serious right now? My heart skipped a beat. At first, I didn't even understand what she meant, but from her stare, it became clear. She was accusing me. Me! I almost choked from the shock. "Are you for real?" I wanted to say, but the words caught in my throat. My parents immediately turned to look at me as if I were actually guilty. Can you believe it? I was in complete shock. Lisa, the perfect sister, was accusing me of theft. And the most shocking part, my parents believed her. No proof, no discussion. I didn't even have time to defend myself. A few days passed after that dinner, when Lisa announced her necklace was missing, and I became the prime suspect in this grand crime. And you know what? The atmosphere at home turned as if I were a real criminal. My parents looked at me like I'd just escaped from prison. Every time I tried to explain or at least talk to them, they'd look at me with disgust and throw comments like, "Lisa couldn't be wrong?" Just like that. Simple. Lisa's an angel, and I must be the devil in disguise. Honestly, it was driving me insane. You try to explain yourself, but no one even listens. Like, why would we need your words? We have Lisa, and she clearly knows what she's talking about. Are you guys even in your right mind? I wanted to ask, but knew it was pointless. It felt like my opinion in this family had always been second, if not 10th. But now, things had gone too far. However, there was something that kept bugging me. Lisa looked way too confident in her accusation, as if she knew beforehand that no one would ever question her. That made me suspicious. She had always been confident, even overconfident, but this felt different. It was like she had prepared everything in advance to accuse me. And you know what else? She suddenly started avoiding me. Lisa used to love telling me about her great achievements, but now, whenever I entered the room, she'd quickly find an excuse to leave. Suspicious, right? At first, I just thought it was her usual arrogance, but then it became clear that she was hiding something. Her behavior wasn't just the whims of a spoiled girl. There was more to it. That's when it hit me. I had to find out the truth. Not to get back at her, though that thought did cross my mind, but to prove my innocence. If I didn't, my parents would forever see me as the thief who supposedly stole the family necklace. And let's just say, that's not the best way to improve your reputation in the family. My plan was simple. Find out what Lisa was hiding. Because if she could so easily accuse me, She had to have a reason, and I was sure that reason was much dirtier than anyone could imagine. Okay, Lisa, get ready, I thought. This was my moment to turn the game around. I decided it was time for a real investigation. You know how in movies it looks cool. The hero finds all the evidence, and the truth prevails. But I wasn't in a movie, and my situation was way more complicated. I thought I'd just talk to Lisa, she'd say something, and I'd figure out where the trick was. But no such luck. Lisa avoided me like the plague. Any question I asked was met with short, one-word answers, and my parents would stand behind her like loyal bodyguards. Seriously? Is this all you can do? I thought every time they played along with her. After several failed attempts to get Lisa's side of the story, I realized I'd have to play tough. Simple questions weren't going to cut it. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. One day, when Lisa was heading to the gym, yes, she wasn't just the perfect daughter, but also always in shape, I saw my chance. Lisa was out, my parents as usual were busy with their own things, and I went straight to her room. She had a personal office. You know, one of those offices of a successful woman. Everything neatly arranged, not a paper out of place. I knew she kept her important documents there, and this was where I'd have to play detective. I carefully opened the drawers and started looking through the papers. Honestly, I expected to find something boring. Contracts, certificates, and so on. But what I found made me stop in my tracks. Bank statements. And not just small sums. These documents had numbers so high my eyes nearly popped out. Lisa, did you rob a bank? Crossed my mind. The amounts flowing through her accounts were far beyond her official salary. Even I, not being a finance expert, could see something was off. And there I stood, in her office, looking at these statements, realizing this was my chance to turn everything upside down. Lisa was clearly involved in something shady, and if I could figure it out, I could clear my name. Here I come, Lisa, get ready, I thought, holding back a smirk. The deeper I dug into Lisa's life, the more I realized that her image of success was one big scam. On the surface, yes, she looked like the typical, successful daughter. Great career, prestigious trips, all hyped up. But if you scratched beneath the surface, and I did, the picture started falling apart. Lisa was living a double life, and her financial schemes clearly didn't align with her image of the perfect daughter. How did I figure it out? Easy. One day I stumbled across some suspicious transactions in her bank statements. You know how in movies they show huge sums of money coming from nowhere? Well, that's exactly what was happening. She used a bunch of fake online stores to sell counterfeit jewelry. Classic scheme. The store exists for a few months, then poof, it's gone. And guess who ended up on her list of clients? Our parents. Yes, without knowing it, they were funding her scams. She was even sending them fake jewelry, all through these fake shops. They had no idea their money was building her illegal empire. That's when it hit me. This situation was way bigger than just family drama. This wasn't just another fight where she accused me of stealing a necklace. Lisa was really involved in illegal activities, and it could have cost us all dearly. If I hadn't uncovered her scam, her little business could have ruined not only her reputation, but also put the whole family's safety at risk. This felt like a small snowflake that could turn into an avalanche. But you know what was the most frustrating part? My parents still sided with her, as if nothing was happening. They even started blaming me. You're blowing this out of proportion, Alex. Lisa couldn't have done anything wrong. Seriously? Do you even see what's happening? They just didn't want to face the truth. But I wasn't going to back down. On the contrary, each new fact, each new piece of evidence only fueled my determination to see this through. It was no longer about personal grudges. It was a matter of principle. Lisa was playing a dangerous game, and I was ready to make sure all the cards were laid on the table. Weeks passed, and in that time, I turned into a real-life Sherlock Holmes, just without the hat and pipe. I gathered all the evidence, bank statements, transaction records, fake online stores, basically a complete dossier on Lisa. And you know what's the funniest part? The more I dug, the more I realized this wasn't just some family drama. This was a scam on such a scale that Lisa had basically built her own little criminal empire. So, When I finally had enough evidence in my hands, I did what I had to do. I turned it all over to the proper authorities. Yep, that moment when you realize there's no going back. It was like something out of a movie, except without the epic soundtrack. I sent the documents, clicked send, and felt a weight lift off my chest. This was my move, and it changed everything. Of course, Lisa wasn't dumb. She immediately started to suspect that I was digging into her. Well, yeah, in that situation, it's impossible not to notice that something's off. Her reaction was swift. And what do you think she did? She started painting me as crazy in front of our parents. Yeah, classic move. He's obsessed. It's all in his head. He just can't accept that I'm successful. My parents looked at me with that expression that said they thought I'd completely lost it. But I had an ace up my sleeve. My evidence was undeniable. The documents, transactions, schemes, they were all laid out perfectly. Lisa could twist the story however she liked, but the facts spoke for themselves. Inside, I knew the point of no return had passed. From this moment on, everything would change. There was no going back. We weren't in some fairy tale where everything ends with happily ever after. No, this was a completely different story, and I knew that once I'd started this game, I had to see it through to the end. Now, Lisa could try anything to divert suspicion, but I wasn't the pushover she could accuse without consequence anymore. The day finally came. Family dinner. It's always a sweet formality where everyone pretends everything is perfect. But not this time. I was ready for a real show. With my thoughts gathered and my resolve firm, I walked in with one goal: to put an end to Lisa's perfect daughter performance. And when you walk into the kitchen with that kind of attitude, not even the smell of roasted chicken can calm you down. My parents were chatting about random things, and Lisa looked as calm as ever, as if nothing had happened. But inside, I knew that soon the atmosphere would heat up to the max. I sat down at the table, and honestly, I felt like I was in the final scene of an action movie. Well, let's get the show started, I thought. Calmly but firmly, I began speaking. There's something you need to know. Lisa accused me of stealing the necklace, but the reality, guys, is much more interesting. I paused for dramatic effect, letting the tension build. As they started looking at me in confusion, I laid all the evidence on the table. Lisa, of course, immediately launched into her acting routine. "He's lying!" she exclaimed, even making a dramatic gesture with her hands. "You're disgusting, Alex. You've always been jealous of me." Ah, yes, the classic move. But this wasn't the time for her theatrics. I pulled out the bank statements, the transaction records, all the documents I'd been collecting for weeks. "Here's your golden daughter," I said sarcastically, looking straight at our parents. My parents were in shock, of course. They looked back and forth between me and Lisa, as if they couldn't believe their world was crumbling right before their eyes. But what really irritated me was that they were still hesitating. "Maybe this is just a misunderstanding," my father mumbled, and my mother just silently looked at Lisa, trying to find some sliver of justification in her eyes. I couldn't believe it. Really? Just like that? You seriously think this is all some mistake? But the facts laid out before them were undeniable. Lisa tried to wriggle out of it, blaming me for everything under the sun, but no one was buying it anymore. My parents, of course, still loved her. Nothing could change that. But now they couldn't deny that Lisa was far from an angel. I had dealt the first serious blow to her reputation, and it showed. Lisa was clearly nervous, even though she was trying to keep her composure. But her business was still up and running. If I wanted to stop her for good, I'd have to see this through to the end. Hang! Lisa was arrested. Yep, that moment when you think you should feel victorious. The police took her right from the doorstep, and honestly, it was that moment when I thought, this is it, finally. You know what I mean, right? When the truth comes out, and you stand there in the spotlight like the hero of the day. But no, instead of feeling like a triumphant victor, I felt empty. And it was so strange. When they led Lisa away in handcuffs, I expected to feel instant relief. Like, mission accomplished, as they say. But standing on the threshold of our house, I suddenly realized that I didn't feel better at all. Okay, Lisa finally got what she deserved. But what did that actually change? I looked at my parents, who seemed like they'd just lost some sacred treasure, not their daughter. Their eyes still carried that same blind faith in her. Mom was practically clinging to her last shred of hope. Maybe it's just a mistake? Maybe they misunderstood Lisa. Seriously? They had just seen her taken away, and they were still trying to make excuses for her. I couldn't believe that even now, they were still hoping for some miracle that would erase everything that had happened. Sure, Lisa's a con artist, but maybe she had her reasons. That's the kind of thought they were clearly trying to comfort themselves with. And you know what really infuriated me? Even after all the evidence had come to light, my parents continued to look at me with some sort of blame, as if it was my fault for destroying their picture-perfect family. Dad still shot me disappointed looks now and then, and Mom spoke to me in a tone that sounded like, "Well, Alex, why did you have to do all this?" I thought that by exposing the truth, I'd earn their trust back. But it turned out I'd lost that too. That's when the real disappointment set in. Yes, Lisa was now behind bars, but what did that give me? It certainly didn't bring happiness. I realized that I'd lost not only a sister, though what kind of sister was she anyway, but also my parents' trust. All that remained was emptiness, and there would be no grand finale with fanfare in this story. When Lisa ended up behind bars and her brilliant business collapsed, I thought I'd finally be able to breathe a sigh of relief and feel like a hero. You know, like in the movies, the main character stands with a triumphant smile, watching the villain's plans fall apart, with victory music playing in the background. But reality was far different. Victory music? There was none. I stood among the ruins of her perfect life, but there was no feeling of triumph. Instead, I was hit by an overwhelming sense of emptiness. I didn't feel any joy from Lisa being behind bars. It wasn't the kind of joy I had imagined. The revenge I had planned as my great comeback turned out to be a complete dud. Sure, Lisa got what she deserved. Her business was destroyed. But now what? I stood there, looking at it all from the sidelines like a spectator at a boring show whose plot had failed to meet expectations. The problem wasn't that Lisa was guilty. No, she was undeniably guilty. The problem was that it didn't fix anything. I had thought that revenge would bring me happiness, but I was wrong. All this time, I wanted my parents to acknowledge me. I wanted to prove that I wasn't just Alex, Lisa's brother. But as it turned out, the recognition I craved wasn't really what I was missing. Family is supposed to be supportive, and that's when it hit me. All the support, all the closeness between us had long disappeared. I'd spent too much time trying to prove myself, trying to earn recognition. But was it worth it? Despite all the facts, my parents still saw Lisa as someone special. And me? I finally realized that the validation I was chasing couldn't be found in other people, but had to come from within. Now I saw things differently. I had changed. I realized that no one but me could give me what I had so desperately been searching for. Support and trust aren't things you can earn by proving you're right. They're either there in a family or they're not. And sadly, we had long lost that. So from this point on, I decided to stop seeking approval from others. Instead, I started looking for it within myself. And you know what? That turned out to be the best decision I could have made.